This is Valley News Live at 5.
A big fine for a big company for polluting toxic chemicals into the air. American Crystal got hit by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency for leaking hydrogen sulfide. That's the stuff that smells like rotten eggs. Valley News Team's Ryan Laughlin tells us how dangerous these chemicals are and how plants in North Dakota are patrolled.
Definitely can be harmful to human health, and that's true even at low-level exposure if it's done over a long period of time.
American Crystal is coughing up $135,000 for releasing too much hydrogen sulfide into the air from their plants in East Grand Forks and Crookston.
All industries do need to abide by these air quality standards.
Overexposure to hydrogen sulfide can cause headaches, convulsions, and skin and eye irritation. The good news is the levels that government regulators require them to be at is far less than the levels that could hurt you. The levels of hydrogen sulfide required by the North Dakota Department of Health is higher than in Minnesota, but officials say still far from dangerous. American Crystal operates plants in Hillsborough and Drayton. Both have seen minor infractions. The most serious is when Hillsborough was hit with over a $100,000 fine for similar air quality problems back in 2008.
The company has definitely taken steps to improve, these emissions.
Millions of dollars into upgrading their plants to try and prevent poisoning the air. There's a deadline at the end of 2019 for the pollution problems to be resolved in Minnesota. From East Grand Forks, Ryan Laughlin, Valley News Live.
Earlier this year, the American Crystal plant in Moorhead was hit with a similar violation. That fine was just under $9 grand. A lot of people already hitting the roads for Thanksgiving, and thankfully, not a lot to worry about so far. Robert, how about this evening?
Yeah, this evening, not too bad. The snow that made its way through northeastern North Dakota into northern Minnesota did leave behind some slick spots, so do be careful as you head out and about in those regions. And that's where we've got the coldest temperatures, 19 in Badette, 20 in Bemidji. It's 30 here in Fargo, 40 over in the Jamestown area. Winds, they've been a bit breezy out there, and they're slowly subsiding. They'll become rather light tonight, but then pick up out of the south as we head through the overnight hours and into your Thanksgiving Day, and that will help warm us up quite nicely. But right now, not very warm at all. Wind chill of 9 in Badette, 10 in Bemidji, 17 in Hallock, 20 here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. A bit of cloud cover in our northern Minnesota counties. We're clearing out in many areas, and a little bit of snow still lingering in just a few areas. That'll get on out of here in the next little while. Here in Fargo, we'll see some mostly clear skies as we head through this evening. Temperatures dipping down into the upper 20s by the 7 o'clock hour and some mid-20s by 8 and 9 o'clock. Could see a few more clouds overnight tonight in some areas. Otherwise, mainly clear skies. A quiet, cold night tonight. Tomorrow, much warmer. We'll have your forecast details on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks, Robert. We're following a developing story tonight out of Fergus Falls, where police say they have a person of interest in custody after a downtown shooting. They found a man walking south of town with blood on his clothes who fit the description of a person involved. The man was taken to the hospital for a gunshot wound and was later taken to another hospital for treatment. Authorities are not releasing his name at this time. Police started their investigation after a caller said they heard gunshots following an incident at a downtown apartment around 4 yesterday morning. Investigators found signs of a shooting at that location and later found a victim with a gunshot wound at a local hospital. That victim was transferred to a Fargo hospital, but police don't believe the injuries were life-threatening. At this time, police say they don't believe there's any risk to the public and that the victim and suspect knew one another. A Catholic priest accused of molesting boys in North Dakota is now coming back to the U.S. to face charges after nearly 2 decades on the run. It's a story that we have been following for years, and officials in the Philippines now say this man, Fernando Sayasaya, was arrested over the weekend near Manila and will be flown back to the U.S., which sought his extradition under a treaty. Sayasaya has been charged in a North Dakota court over the alleged sexual advances on 2 underage siblings from 1995 to 1998. Sayasaya flew back to the Philippines for Christmas in 1998 and never returned. Tonight on Valley News Live at 6, we'll hear from a detective who has been working on the case since the 90s. The Grand Forks Police Department wants you to know about a high-risk sex offender living in the area. They say Kelly Tanner is living at 1002 University Avenue, number 2. Tanner is a level 3 offender. He was convicted of gross sexual imposition in 2003 and sexual assault in 2008. Both cases involved underage victims. Tanner must register for a lifetime in North Dakota. Women who accused former Michigan State and USA Olympics gymnastics team doctor Larry Nassar of sexual assault are speaking out after he entered a guilty plea earlier today. The doctor pleaded guilty to first-degree criminal sexual misconduct and faces at least 25 years in prison. Attorneys for the women who accused Nassar have called these assaults an American tragedy. And both the attorneys and the accusers lay a lot of blame on Michigan State University, the U.S. Olympic Committee, and USA Gymnastics. They claim these institutions knew of Dr. Larry Nassar's abuse for a long time, but did nothing to stop him.
Our abuser has pled guilty, but MSU, USAG, and USRC, you have yet to take responsibility for what happened on your watch.
Nassar is still awaiting sentencing on child pornography charges, and he is being sued by more than 125 women and girls. Moorhead police are investigating after multiple reports of vandalism early this morning. They received 7 reports of car windows being shot out with what looks like a BB or pellet gun. Anyone with information should contact Moorhead police. Fargo police say that they also received a report overnight of a house window shot out with a BB or pellet gun. There were people inside the home, but no one was injured. North Dakota is seeing a higher than normal number of flu cases for this time of year, which might signal that the flu is hitting us earlier than usual. The state health department says it typically doesn't start seeing case numbers escalate until at least mid-December. As of the end of last week, there had been 124 cases statewide, with 10 hospitalizations. 2/3 of the cases were in Cass, Burleigh, Morton, and Stark counties. Nearly half of the state's counties have reported cases. The health department urges people to get flu shots as soon as possible. In tonight's schemes and ripoffs, Fargo police are warning of scammers pretending to be from their department. Someone in the community received a phone call this morning from a man with a foreign accent, claiming to be Officer Justin Thomas with the Fargo Police Department. And the caller ID showed the department's phone number. Police say the scammer is part of a criminal investigation. So if you get a call like this and think there might be some truth to it, Fargo police want you to take their name and call the department to see if they actually work there. And they remind you to never give personal information over the phone. A new project in Moorhead is hoping to be a catalyst for the revitalization of the downtown area. Block E will be placed at the corner of 8th Street and Main Avenue. It's a unique partnership that has been many years in the making. The project is a 34,000 square foot multi-use development. There will be apartment units along with commercial space. Developers and the city's mayor are optimistic that this is the start of sprucing up the downtown area.
It'll give sort of a really great entryway into what will be become a really fabulous downtown in Moorhead.
This development will serve as an anchor for various corporate offices such as Eventide and Moorhead's downtown community.